All right, Shalom. Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, the men whom I've learned this truth from, and Shalom and salutations to the elect that's out there preaching this word and truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Shaquat, and I'm one of the brothers from the branch of Great Millstone, Montreal. I'm back with another lesson, and this lesson is going to be a short lesson, and as always, Lord willing, that it's edifying, right? But this lesson that I wanted to get into was going into or further expounding on something that was mentioned, at camp today, on our Tuesday camp, and it was substance, right? The widow that dropped in that small amount of money, and what Yahweh Shai said about her, right? So without further ado, that I'm just gonna jump straight into it and get it. So this is the book of Mark, chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 38 actually. And he said unto them in his doctrine, beware of the scribes which love to go in long clothing and love salutations in the marketplaces, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and the uppermost rooms at feasts, which devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. These shall receive greater damnation, right? So Yahushua was cussing out the scribes, the wicked scribes, because you did have righteous scribes, but in this case, he was cussing out the wicked ones, right? And that's something Yahushua did a lot, was rebuke, Salakia, right? That's something that Yahushua did often, and he dedicated a whole chapter to in the book of Matthew, cursing out the wicked scribes and Pharisees, right? Why? Because they were cheating the people. Their spirit was not right, for lack of better words, man. Their spirit was not right, you know? And that's why Yahushua was calling it out. And in this case, it's the same with the scribes, right? In this instance that we're reading. The scribe, these wicked scribes, they're not right. Yahushua is telling you, beware of them, man. Because the spirit that they're coming in is not the right spirit. And that's something that I wanted to emphasize in this lesson, is dealing with your spirit. You have to have a right spirit, right? When being in this truth, this ministry, yeah, and it has to be a sincere spirit. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, but the spirit that you're in, it matters, right? Because that's what the Heavenly Father is looking at. That's what the Heavenly Father and Yahweh Shai, that's what they're looking at. Your inward man, you know, and what it's all about, right? It's not about an outward show. It's not about you know, um, how much or how well you can break something down, or how much followers you have, how much subscribers you have, how much, even how much, videos you make, which that's still, hey, that's important, right? But that's not what it's all about. There's other things, man. The weightier matters of the law, which the weightier matters of the law deal with the inward man, because Yahweh said, "What is judgment, mercy?" Uh, uh, Matter of fact, Salakia. Let me get it so I don't butcher it. I'm gonna save this so I come back to it. Yep, Matthew 23 and verse 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law: judgment, mercy, and faith. These are ye have to done, and not to have the other undone. Right. So judgment, mercy, and faith, those all deal with the inward man. The man inside, right? Because you know, um, the law really, right? in the case of the wicked scribes and Pharisees, they were being hypocrites, man. They were doing things outwardly to appear like to make it appear that they were right, but they're not. Inside, they were full of what? Dead man bones, man. Like Yahushua said, right? And like the inward man is very important because that's what the Heavenly Father and Yahushua are looking at. That's what I said. So like I said, right? When you read the book of First Samuel, it speaks about that the Lord sees not as man seeth, but for the Lord, man seeth on the outward, man looketh on the outward, but the Lord looketh at the heart. Right, roughly paraphrasing that precept. So going back to the book of Mark 12 and verse 40, so like verse 41, and Yahushua sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mits, 2 copper coins, right? Mits, which make a farthing, and a farthing is a Roman coin. Verse 43, and he called unto him his disciples, and saith unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow had cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they for all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. Right? And that goes to show you the contrast of spirits between these rich men that cast into the treasury because they had money, but they had a lot of money because that's what being rich means, obviously, right? But yeah, they gave a lot, but it wasn't all they had, right? In comparison to this widow, which she pretty much gave her living, her life's worth, man, into the treasury. But she was more justified than those others. She was in more in the right spirit, man. Because she gave everything out of the sincerity of her heart, and that's what the Heavenly Father is well pleased with. Hey, so with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, short, and to the point. In closing, I'd like to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kodash, the blindness once again, to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom, and salutations to the electors out there.